everyone, so I'm going to be doing this video on Elijah Lewis. Thank you so much for recommending these people. I'm speaking to you, Ashley. I don't know why they're not coming up on YouTube. I don't know if they're blocking your comments, but I am able to see them. It's just not showing publicly. So I just want to preface this, you guys. I don't believe that he's alive, so this is an even darker matter for some of you who are extremely sensitive to these things, but that's what I'm feeling, that's what I'm picking up on, and so I just want to have that warning. I'm going to try and be as vague as possible when it comes to some of the more gruesome things that I feel that I'm seeing, because I don't know the accuracy on it, and I don't want to I don't know, it's not necessarily impede too much on this whole thing, but I don't know where any of this would be beneficial, even just like, you know, being a random psychic on the internet. So with that being said, yes, I feel he's gone. I feel he has passed away. So where do we go from here, right? We need to find out who did it. We need to find out where the body is, if there is a body. We need to find out if there's a weapon. We need to find any other finer details that might lead investigators to look somewhere or ask certain things or verify something with them, right? So I will say I'm getting very blurry on the details of his body and of that day. It feels very condensed to me. The overall feeling that I have is that he was awake and he was aware. He was, you know, mentally present for what was happening to him. But I'll start from the very beginning, okay? So who's responsible? I do feel that the mother is responsible here. I'm getting an image of a man, but he feels removed. So I don't know if this would be the father and the father is not present in the life, but when I say that, I feel this strong sense of no. And if I say a stepfather, it's the same thing, this sense of no. I feel more settled on this feeling of a boyfriend. But if she has a boyfriend, then it feels like she hasn't really been with him that long. I don't know, like it would be like a couple years or something. It doesn't feel like she... Okay, so we know Elijah's 5 years old and he's missing. That's what we know, or that's what I know. So she would have obviously been with the father at least 5 years ago. This boyfriend maybe would have come in when Elijah was like 3, possibly. I'll also mention, just another side note, when it comes to the details of like people who've passed away, and again, I'm sticking to that because it feels very finalized with Elijah. It gets really spotty for me. It gets really, really spotty. It's a big hit and miss for me. Sometimes I'm really, really good, and sometimes I'm not so good. And then obviously it falters in between. So that's where that's the bottom of my range. I will say that when it comes to people who the location of bodies. I don't know why, but it's a very weak suit for me. But what I feel is there's some sort of like boyfriend, okay? And he's not supportive at all. He's not like he might be a little financially supportive, like it definitely makes things a little bit easier. That doesn't feel right either. It feels like it's more of just a body. Like, you know, it's just someone to be there. I don't know if they do drugs. I don't know about alcohol. it kind of feels more of on the drug side, like prescription drugs, some sort of like liquid drug, something that would put them under the influence. That would be like on like the extreme side of drug use. And that would be like how he really actually provides for her, is kind of how I'm feeling. She feels like she has never had the support that she felt like she desired or needed at the time of Elijah's life. Okay, it feels like an extreme case of postpartum depression mixed with overexhaustion. You know, she's not getting any rest when it comes to, you know, taking care of her child, and just there's like no self-care, no way to have self-care. I see that she's like giving Elijah to like family members or babysitters. It kind of feels like a family member's babysitting, or like friends or something, just to kind of give her some space. But how she sees it is just to get rid of him. Like, I just want to get rid of him for the day. So it doesn't seem like she has the knowledge of like the self-awareness to say, I'm feeling a certain way and I need help and I need to change something because this isn't right. It's more of just like very surface level thinking, right? And not really getting to the root of those feelings. So it's a lot of unresolved issues when it comes to that, to where it almost feels like she's just a walking zombie, right? This is like really taking someone who could have had a lot of potential to be a good mother, a good person, but given a lot of terrible circumstances, and instead of rising, she plummeted, right? She made the choice to do that, unfortunately, is how I feel. Okay, so that's not to excuse her behavior, obviously, because there are plenty of single mothers who do absolutely amazing, okay? It is to explain her behavior, because I think that if you were to observe her, then there would be some indicators of that. There would be some known things where it's like, oh, she was a really good friend, she was a really good person, she's really good whatever, but I could tell she was overwhelmed. I could tell there were issues. I could tell she wasn't getting enough rest. I could tell that, you know, she was unhappy with her body, or she was unhappy with herself, and she would say she took 4 steps forward and 5 steps back. Like, she couldn't ever catch a break. So that's what I see. I feel like there's some sort of obsessive energy around this, where it feels like the boyfriend was obsessed with eliminating the son. Like, he really did not like this kid. It felt like the kid was a burden. And so this exasperated the issues within the mother, because the mother was already feeling that way, and she didn't have any outlet, and she didn't have any support. So him saying that is playing into her nightmares, is playing into her fears, is playing into her exhaustion. And if they are using some sort of substances, then it's just kind of, it's just making everything even, it's amplifying everything for her, okay? Because I do feel like it started out as these fantasies of just like what it would be like without him, what I would look like without him. And then it turned into like hitting him, or it turned like some sort of, or punishing him, or neglecting him, you know, and not taking care of him, something like that, very small. And then it escalated, where it was like, again, just playing into the fantasies of her nightmares. And I feel on that day of his death that the boyfriend was there, and that he was ultimately responsible for the death of Elijah. I feel like she, again, I'm drawn to drug use. And again, it's like but it's like a liquid drug use. I don't know, like heroin maybe? I'm not sure what liquid drug there is. or it's like, again, like a prescription, because then you drink something with it to take a prescription pill. I don't know. And again, this is all hit and miss for me, because it feels like she's out of it. It feels like and it could just be from pure exhaustion and giving up and just being over it. But that's what it feels like, is like that day, it was maybe like around 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 o'clock in the morning, you know, kind of like that time of day where the sun is not so hot. And it is the in-between of the previous day or the next day and that present moment. And Elijah's just being a kid. He's being loud. He's, you know, running around. He's making a lot of noise. I feel like he's a little bit underdeveloped as far as like his communication skills or his the way he associates with other kids, things like that. There might be some sort of delay there, but it's mostly from neglect. It's not really providing him with the things that he really needs to be stimulated. Or he's just a very active kid, right? So he's trying to find outlets to express himself, because he doesn't fully know how. It's either that, or it's just the way that I'm seeing a kid, you know, where the kids, they don't have the adult mind. So something like that. He's just running around. He's like happy and loud, and then he starts getting frustrated for some reason. There's something that frustrates him, and then he starts hitting his mom. I'm going to say hitting his parents, so it kind of feels like maybe he looked to the boyfriend as a parent. Maybe. Not really, but it's just an adult that he was supposed to listen to. But he never really did, I don't feel. Like, I don't know. There's something that doesn't feel right about that when I said it. I'm wrong about that somehow. Like, very wrong, because I could be wrong about this other stuff, but there's something very off about that I'm not picking up on. But he started like hitting his mom or something like that, and the mom was like, I'm over it, like I'm not dealing with this, and shut herself off in a room. Because it feels like they're in a house. It feels like they're in a house where there's like, it kind of reminds me of old homes, or like apartments where it has the skinny hallways. Because older homes, they have like smaller hallways, right? Now the newer homes are really spacious, so it feels a little small to me. And so, yeah, it's like she left, and she was like, I don't care what happens, like, you deal with him. And the boyfriend and the kids, like, fighting. Like, he's getting hit, so he's hitting him back. And then the kid was like, you know, sometimes when kids get really upset, they'll like hit and they'll laugh about it. So that's how it started out before. Now he's not so much laughing. Now he's crying. Now he's upset. And now he's being hurt. And I feel like there's like a twisting of his arms. You know, it's getting physical. It's getting worse. And I feel like the mom came out eventually and was like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? It doesn't feel like it's an intense situation with her. Like, it's again more of like a zombie. It's like, what's going on? Tell me about it. I really don't care. Just freaking deal with it. Like, can I not just have a break? And the boyfriend being like, I'm gonna kill him. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kill him. If you want me to deal with him, like, that's what's gonna happen. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of this. Like, we need to just get rid of him. And so she was like, okay, whatever. You know, if that's what you want to do, that's on you. But I there's something like I see her being involved somehow. There's some sort of her involvement with it. And that's where it gets really, really blurry for me. Because I can't tell. It almost feels like she left again, like she shut herself off where he did it. And then she came back, and then they both worked in tandem to dispose of the body. Let me just shut my door really quick because my bird. And that's what I'm seeing is what happened. I feel as if the body is like the thing is like how did they do it? And I'm getting all these mixed things, like there are objects and there are not objects, there are drugs, there are not drugs. It's very blurry to me, so I don't know if I'm picking up on their mentality during the time or what I'm seeing. And then I'm seeing I guess I won't say anything too specific because I don't know how that would help. But I think that they buried the child, okay? I don't know if it would be all in one place or anything. It kind of feels like it would be. Because I think that they were brainstorming on what to do after this happened. Like, where do we dispose? How do we dispose? Like, should we burn? Should we just, you know, like, just a bunch of different things. And a clue, okay, that I feel would help with this is this kept coming up for me in like different ways in here. It just felt like it kept coming up. Time to move on. It's time to let go of the old and worn out so that the new can come in. And it's like I mean, they're all like water scenes, so I don't really know why I picked out of this because it wouldn't really tell me much with the water. But then I kept seeing water too, so I don't know because I don't feel like he's in water. I don't think that they put him in water. But I will say there's something to do with water. I have no idea. And I'm like, I don't understand, like, what this means. There's some significance to this, letting go of the old, so that the new can come in. And I'm like, I feel like it's multiple things that are coming through, which is like, however they got rid of him, whether he was wrapped up in sheets or whether they have, I don't know, it's like it has to do with this situation though. It's like, let me think of examples. Sheets, knives, cell phones, a car. Like, basically what I'm saying is something that you would have that you wouldn't necessarily replace. Like, you very rarely replace it. So if you were to observe them and you see that they replaced something recently, I would raise alarm bells on every single thing that they've bought that's new, just in general. But especially if it's something that they normally, like, people normally don't just go out and buy. Like, it would be, oh, well, what are the odds that you needed something new like that? And that is some sort of indication here. Okay. And I do feel, again, that the boy was aware, he was awake. I feel like this is him here, like, all prickled up, like, defensive, and trying to get away. At that point, I feel like there was a point where he just kind of, like, the adults involved, or the adult, I think once he was, like, starting to go, then they were both there. It's kind of how it feels, like, just kind of watching him go. But that it was at the hands of the boyfriend, stepfather, husband. Definitely not husband. I don't know. So it's not, it's someone removed. It's someone removed and it's a male. And the female was there at the time of this happening. And where's the body? I've not got to that, right? Something that kept coming up, this is where I kept seeing the water here. Okay. And where's the other one? Here. It's, or that's not it, but these were the ones that I felt were indicating where he is. And I thought what's strange is like letting go of the old so the new can come in. So it's very weird about like 2 kids. I don't know what that meant, because I felt like, again, like that was a dual meaning. So that was the other thing I was going to say is like just move on. Like, don't worry about a replacement kid. Like, don't worry about the future. Like, don't worry about any of that. If you were to ask her what happened and she says she didn't know, I feel like there's some partial truth in that, because she was not in the right state of mind. And it's almost like she's blocking it out. Like, she's very aware. Like, she could probably tell you, but it would be disassociated. The way that she would tell you is disassociated. Because she's been troubled for a long time, 5 years or more. But especially with this kid, it's been 5 years. And she hasn't received any sort of help. Mental help. And she didn't even, I don't feel like she even really knew the extent of how much she was suffering. So I feel like I noticed these buildings here, okay? And this is how I feel when I imagine where he is, where it's like a field like this, like it's almost like an open field. And here's like this dirt road, so it's kind of like offset of a road is kind of how it seems to me. I don't know where they're from, but I would say that they didn't go very far. They didn't travel very far to dispose of Elijah. They stayed within, I would even say, like, if it's in America, like they would stay within the state. They might even stay within the city. Like, it doesn't feel like they went far at all. But I feel like they're going different places. It's weird. It's like they make different stops. Are they together? It's like they were together and then they were separate. But they were definitely working together at this time. And then I noticed this tree, and the tree's here. So I don't know if it's like, if this would be an indicator, if it's near a tree, or if there's a building within the distance, like you could visibly see a building, but that it's see this like a bridge, so it would be across the way. However that means, it would be across the way from a building, and there's trees. So it would be like deciduous trees, possibly, because here it's full and here it's bare. So that's kind of the representation that I'm getting. I don't know, but that's where I see it's like it's open. Wherever they're at, it's open. So it would be like if, you know, when you have those like people have a lot of property and it's a lot of wooded property, but then they clear out a lot of land. That's how it feels. And it's somewhere that they're familiar with. They put him somewhere that they're familiar with. It's somewhere that they would have been like somewhat comfortable with, or that they've been in the past. That, I don't know. And again, it's this weird thing about letting something go. I don't know, because I feel like it's a big message. It's like letting go of the past, letting go of something. And I don't feel like it has to do with Elijah or I mean, it does, but it's something completely separate, but related. So, that's what I get. Okay, so we talked about the boy. That's pretty much it. Okay, without getting too graphic or too detailed. I think that's enough information here. Again, I don't know if he would be wrapped up in anything or not. I don't know the conditions of the body, like what they would have decided to do. I will say, though, as far as Elijah's soul, he is at peace, he is at rest, okay? I feel like, you know, you think 5 years. Most of you who are watching this should be an adult, right? 5 years is not that long at all. And when we cross over, we also have that realization that even just our life on earth is not that long at all, right? It's like a blink of an eye in terms of our soul's progression, our soul's life of eternity. And for him, I feel he's more of his soul than he was of Elijah, right? There's not a lot of attachments when it comes to this life. He feels very masculine, very much an adult is how I feel of him. Almost like this is more of just like a little touch on his soul, right? So he's more of his life before this lifetime than he is even of Elijah. And he's at peace, he is at rest, and it just feels like an experience to him. I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't feel like he's in pain or he's holding on to anything. It's just he's already moved on. He's already moved on from this, and he doesn't feel sad or, you know, it wasn't a difficult transition. Sometimes when people pass away, it does take a while longer for them to transition peacefully, as far as their soul goes, because they have a lot of attachments here, or if it was shocking, then there's sometimes a little bit of resistance or confusion that eventually works itself out. But with him, you know, he didn't have a hard time at all. And so if that brings any solace to anyone, I do genuinely see that. I do genuinely feel that. And it's actually a lot easier for me to connect to people who've already crossed. And so, because they don't have all of these different factors that come into, you know, everyday life kind of thing. And I don't know. It would almost be like it's so, this experience is so tiny compared to other lifetimes or his whole being, like his whole soul, that, you know, he's, I don't know, like it's okay, basically. Like he's okay. And, you know, now whoever did this obviously has to deal with it here and now. You know, this is not anything on him, obviously. So that was my video, and hope there was some sort of information here that could help. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.